Hello everybody and welcome to the Tartar Zone. We've got some, obviously we're following up on the embargoed stuff that was put out, and of course there was interviews part of that, which as I said, I'll focus on the Chris Chibnall, the Jody Whittaker and the Matt Strevens interviews and give my opinions and my thoughts on them. Also tonight on BBC One, on the One show, John Bishop made an appearance for an interview. We also got a little clip for the upcoming episode on Sunday. And it's a clip with John Bishop, and his friend knocks on the door and he has a can in his hand, a can of beer. And he goes, trick or treat. And, you know, John Bishop cracks a joke and stuff like that. And I have to say the scene was very funny. John Bishop is a funny guy. I know there are some people out there that don't like John Bishop, but I found it a very funny clip. Also, quite interestingly, while he was joking with Joanna Lumley, he said that he doesn't do his own stunts because they were talking about something, and stunts came into it. And he said he didn't even do his own stunts on Doctor Who. So that was very fascinating. But I will say, if John Bishop's character Dan is actually treated with respect and is written properly, I think he'll be one of the highlights of this current series coming up. Just like Graham O'Brien was for a lot of people, I think Dan will do the same trick. But I do personally believe that John Bishop is funnier than Graham O'Brien, and I think he was brought in deliberately for that comic relief. But as I said on the One show tonight, some people may have missed it, especially those people obviously on the other side of the pond. For anybody that wants to watch it, I'm pretty sure it'll be up on BBC iPlayer. So you know yourselves, for people across the pond, you know how you will be able to watch that interview and see that little clip. And of course, they showed the trailer again in the background while John Bishop was actually talking. Also, interestingly enough, he was told he was asked if he wanted to do this by Chris Chibnall, and he was doing Soccer Aid with Bradley Walsh. It's a yearly thing. They do it for charity. A bunch of celebrities get together with some pro footballers, legends of the game, and basically what happens is they play a football match for charity. So he was talking to Bradley Walsh. Apparently he's a fan as well, but he gave no details on any episodes that he was fans of. But he was talking to Bradley Walsh. He was told not really to say anything, but he did discuss it with Bradley Walsh. Very interesting interview. But again, he said something very interesting. He says that he was told that he couldn't say anything. Again, Chris Chibnall, given instructions that he couldn't really say anything or give anything away. So again, I think this has been the biggest flaw of the Chris Chibnall era. You have to give fans something, and the stuff that he's given fans is just not good enough, especially the fans that have supported this era all the way through. They've been shortchanged. Look at the way RTD and Stephen Moffat did things for an upcoming series. There was a lot of promotion, a lot of little teasers, plus the trailer and other stuff to go with it. Chris Chibnall doesn't do any of that. And anytime he hires someone new or the cast that he's already had, they're not allowed to say much during interviews. And it's absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. Give the fans bloody something, But I will say this, John Bishop's casting does appeal to me. Now, whether his character is going to be written well, that will be the big thing when we watch on Sunday. But the little clip that I seen him in with his mate was very funny. So we will see. We will see. But I just thought I'd start with that because obviously some people mightn't be aware that there was a little teaser dropped for Sunday's episode, and it featured just John Bishop and his mate. So because obviously he was there for an interview, they gave him a little clip where your man knocks at his door. Gives nothing away, of course, because that's Chibnall fight. He won't throw you a bone, but the little clip that he gave us, if John Bishop's character is written well, he's going to be a very good addition to the Doctor Who family. But as I said, the biggest downfall for this era has been Chris Chibnall's ability to understand the characters that he's writing, and his writing has been dire. So it doesn't help, but we'll see what happens. Right, let's get into these interviews. So, as you all know, embargoed information was dropped at 12 midnight, weird time, but obviously it was aimed for the American market. But they did drop a lot of photographs, and obviously, as I said to you, there was loads of interviews with the cast and crew. Now, I'm not going to concentrate on the interview with Mandip or John Bishop. I'm only going to concentrate on the three main people, as far as I'm concerned, that are connected to this show, which is Chris Chibnall, Matt Stevens, and the lead herself in Jodie Whittaker. So we'll start off with Jodie Whittaker. Now, I already read this part out at first in the last video, but I'll read it again for anybody that missed it. It's bigger and better than ever. It's my final full series. There'll be questions asked. There'll be answers. There'll be exclamation marks and huge exclamation marks. And I think that in itself will pique your interest and pique your curiosity. Jodie Whittaker. Now, before we get into this, talking about getting fans interested, that'll pique your curiosity. Well, I've seen a mixed bag online, to be quite honest with you. I wouldn't say that fans are excited for this. There's already been articles put out there about how they're going to continue the story from the Timeless Children, and apparently that's kind of took people by surprise, and some on their side, and I'm kind of like, well, why would you be surprised? Of course he's gonna continue with the Timeless Child storyline. Why wouldn't he? I mean, he did it, you know what I mean? It would make no sense for him to just ignore it completely after him doing it. He has to address it. So, of course, it's going to feature very heavily in Series 13. I don't know why people are surprised, but there you go. There are some people that are surprised. And I just can't get my head around that, because obviously he was going to do some. Now, some people out there are claiming that he's going to double and triple down on the Timeless Child. They've got it wrong. He's going to address the issues that fans have. He's been told to fix and tidy it up. And I think that's gone over a lot of people's heads. You know, he cannot continue the way he's continued for the last 2 seasons. And that's the reality of the situation that they're in. It's the reason why we have RTD now, is because it's gotten so bad. So do you think they're going to let him continue that just to bring RTD in and to do his stuff and further damage to show and its reputation? Like, he uses our heads, you know? Where's the logic gone? It seems to have gone out the window with some people. Packed with action, humour, terrifying new villains, and iconic returning monsters such as the Sontarans and Weeping Angels, the new series of Doctor Who tells one story across a vast canvas. Except this canvas is going to be shit. It features a host of acclaimed British acting talent, which I mentioned their names already, from Liverpool to the depths of space via the Crimean War and the planet named Atropos, which shouldn't even exist. Fighting old foes and new creatures from beyond our dimension, the Doctor and company face a race against and through time to uncover a universe-spinning mystery. What is Flux? Nobody gives a flux. Right, let's start off with the main lead herself. Chris is there, says, let's show us all some support. Nice to see you all. I see Time Mechanic is there as well. We've got Marty there as well. Even and all, I won't lie, I seen the clip of John Bishop and I do like it. Same here, mate. Same here. I thought he was very funny. The question I would pose though now is, can Chris Chibnall do this character Dan justice? Because his character development is very weak and his storytelling has been very weak. But I have to say, I did really enjoy that little clip. It was funny. It was genuinely funny. It wasn't forced. John Bishop is a natural comedian anyway, and it was funny. I'm not going to lie. We've also got the third Doctor there as well. Time Mechanic, as I said, Unknown 289. We've got Michael in the chat as well. And if any more comes in after I read this article, I'll give you a shout out. We've got 26 people watching right now at the moment. If you could do me a favor, hit that like button, or if you don't like what I'm talking about, please hit that dislike button. It doesn't matter. Leave a comment as well, all of that. Every little bit of support helps, as you know, guys. So please smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Hit that notification bell so you won't miss any videos or streams, because we're going to be very busy now this week onwards now, gearing up to Series 13. On Friday, we will have our very first Hard Zone talks where I'll be bringing people on. We'll be gearing up. We'll be talking about what we've seen so far, the pictures we've seen, and I'll be asking you guys what our expectations are for the upcoming series. And again, I will say this channel is open even to people on the other side that are fans of this area. You're more than welcome to come on if you're willing to discuss, obviously, the upcoming series. You know, we've tried to do it before, but unfortunately some people have decided to use it as an opportunity to either have a dig at me or try to take down the channel. But if you are genuinely interested in taking part of this over the next 6 weeks, you're more than welcome. We'll be having plenty of fan discussion, as we always do. There'll be a lot more of it, obviously, because it is the last full series of Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall's reign, and I want to get as much opinion in as I can. Chris, I've just seen your name there twice. One is a red picture and one is the normal black picture. Is that you just messing around with your avatar? Just want to make sure that, because obviously I'm on StreamYard, so I can't see if it's actually you. Maybe I should check my bloody phone. Anyway, let's get into this interview. We got Dave in the chat as well. Welcome, Dave. Right, let's read the first interview. So this is an interview with Jodie Whittaker herself. Let's see what she has to say. So the first question to Jodie Whittaker was, how did it feel filming your last series during COVID? And she says, we started filming late because of COVID, so I was right. As I said, again, my sources have been, look, I keep saying it, but again, in the very first line of that, she has already vindicated my sources. We told you that Doctor Who wasn't filming when everybody else out there was saying that they were filming, right? She's admitting it now. We started filming late because of COVID, as I said, as my sources said. So let's continue anyway. So starting was tentative time because none of us had shot during the pandemic. So knowing it was my last, I knew it would be very different because we weren't able to travel. We couldn't be tactile in the way we were, but what was immediately reassuring is as soon as you got on set, no matter if the logistics or the face of the show seemed different because of masks and all of that, all of their heart and all of the love was still there, and it was still great fun. We're able to be safe as we could be, as caring as we could be, and not lose the atmosphere on set. It was such a pleasure to be around people. I'm so delighted. It was emotional to start with because you hadn't seen anyone, and everyone had gone through so much to get to the first day. And you want to make sure you're not the person to make a mistake, as a domino effect can be so catastrophic on set. Also, it was the longest time I hadn't seen Mandip. She does seem to be very obsessed with our co-star. I will say that, and I'll say no more than that. But she does seem very hyper focused on Mandip. But again, this whole thing about the atmosphere on set. Well, we've all heard the stories that the atmosphere problems during even BBC Radio confirmed that there was problems during the production. Series 11 carried into Series 12, and loads of people have been reporting that the same thing happened during Series 13, that all was not rosy in the garden of Doctor Who. So it's funny that she brings all of that up. But anyway, let's see what the next question is. And the next question to Jodie was, did you approach anything differently coming to be a serialized story? And she wrote, I don't think so. As an actor, you're so used to things changing, so the change between serialization and episode arcs doesn't change your approach in any way. I could not quote what happened in what episode, as I can see the whole story in its entirety. I just know we all start a journey, where we go and how it pans out. The thing that's most different is that it's almost 12 months of filming, and it requires a different type of stamina than I've ever had to find before. But again, I spoke about this when Jodie Whittaker got the job, right? We were seeing these interviews that were done that were alleging that Peter Capaldi had left Doctor Who because it was too much work. Then Matt Smith apparently was supposed to say the same thing. Now, they weren't filming for 12 months, unlike Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall, because Chris Chibnall, again, as I said, his inability to communicate with his cast and crew, and then him constantly changing, things that are happening in episodes don't help. So, as I said, 12 months of filming, and again, another thing that has been confirmed by Jodie Whittaker, that we said on this channel, that they had actually, and Eddie actually brought this up as well. He said that they were behind schedule and they were over budget. Well, this comment there has actually, confirmed that again. So Eddie gets congratulations for that one, and his sources and my sources were obviously talking the same thing, because we put it up on Twitter and we talked about it on this channel. So again, all of these things we keep telling you guys, the haters out there will tell you that a lie. And I always keep telling you, whether it comes out in weeks or months or a year later, it doesn't matter. All of this stuff will come to fruition. I have no reason to lie to anybody in this fandom. I get this information, and when I'm told to put it out, I put it out. No agenda here. Yes, I don't like the current era, but at the end of the day, the source information is the source information. Whether I did have an agenda or not, it's besides the point anyway, because the information is coming out and it's turning out to be true every time. So let's continue anyway. Are you excited for how it will be for audiences to see the story portrayed that way? Definitely. Obviously, for Whovians, the story has played out in many different ways over the years, and I think for us, it was great to have had the experience of both. It was definitely the right decision for us to start Series 11, my fourth series, in the way that was a jumping off point for anyone that hadn't watched it before. Jumping off point? You mean a jumping on point? I don't know. Maybe it is off. And this series certainly doesn't exclude people that haven't seen it, but it gives reason to go back and rediscover. It also has those brilliant cliffhanger moments, and that as an actors, and for the characters, it gives a lot of different layers you can bring to it. Sorry, I have to stop for a minute before I read the rest of this, right? So, she said it was the right decision to do Series 11 the way they did Series 11 because it would enable new fans to come in and they wouldn't be confused about what's going on in the show, which I disagree with, by the way, because there's even a line in there, throwaway line, which says, "Oh, well, I used to be a grey-haired Scotsman," right? So if people are coming in and they're hearing that line, they'll be wondering what she's talking about. So I don't buy that as an excuse. And she said that the series doesn't exclude people. Well, listen, love, right? And no disrespect to you or anything, but you're not online, right? You don't have any social media accounts as far as I know, right? All we've been told is that we're no longer welcome in this fandom. So to say that this show doesn't exclude people, it has. It's excluded its long-term fans. And the whole goal of the BBC was to replace them with the people that you've just mentioned that don't know anything about the history of the show and can jump in at your series and watch. I like the way you've worded that, by the way. You know? For anybody that's never watched the series before, I would suggest you go back and watch Christopher Eccleston's. That's a good jump off point or starting point if you want to become a Doctor Who fan. I'd even say the same about Matt Smith's first series because that was a bit of a soft reboot as well. So there has been jumping off points to this show where fans could come in. This is not exclusive to you, Miss Whittaker. I just want to make that clear. And these cliffhanger moments, he literally did an interview, the very first, there'll be no cliffhangers, there'll be no old monsters, there'll be no this, that, and the other, and then he contradicted himself. Anyway, let's continue. So, and this series doesn't exclude people that haven't seen it, but it gives reason to go back and rediscover it. Also has those brilliant cliffhanger moments, and that as actors for the characters, it gives a lot of different layers you could bring to it. You don't want to play the end note in the first episode because you know you've got this journey to go on with a particular beat or a particular emotion. Even with serialization, it's still a very episodic, and each episode has its world that's different from the rest. There may be characters you see again, but you certainly feel like you are taken through many different worlds and times like you would in our previous seasons. I'm not going to say anything there because it is just nothing. I mean, that's just get away. Were there any special moments that stood out for you filming Series 13? Now, it'll be very interesting, right? Because other doctors will mention, particular scene or something like that. Let's see what she actually says. For us, getting to know John Bishop has been wonderful. He came in at 110% with his energy and enthusiasm. He's been such fun to be around. He's been a massive team player for us. We are still grieving Brad and Tolson, and for him to come in and not to fill anybody's shoes and be his own person, we found a new dynamic which felt brilliant and felt so comfortable. I think the way you meet Dan and the whole introduction, those are really funny scenes, and I have to agree with her there because we seen one tonight and it was pretty funny. I think all the early scenes with him and Caravanistia have been really fun to shoot. Right, I will actually let me see what point do I want to make on this one. Yeah, actually, I forgot to add while I was watching the One Show and the John Bishop interview, he did actually say that he was brought in for an audition, a chemistry audition, right? So it was to actually see if he had any chemistry with Jody Whittaker and the other people that are working on the show, which probably does go on, but I've never actually heard about it being spoken about. So I was kind of like, wow. So she continues, I've been lucky enough to work with new people, but I've been lucky enough to work with people I've worked with before. This is the third time I've worked with Jacob. I've worked with Annabelle. We played sisters before, and this was lovely just to spend time with her. Tadia Graham, I never worked with, and she blew me away from the read-through just from Zoom. I was like, that girl is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And that's the thing. It can be your first interaction with people, or it can be an old friend stepping on set. I have noticed though, they have brought a lot of people in that she's worked with before previously. Maybe they think if they bring in people that she's worked with previously, maybe we'll get a better performance from her. Doubtful, but I thought I'd just throw that out there anyway. And that's the thing. It could be your first interaction with people, or it could be an old friend stepping on set. But what you always get at the end is that it's like you've known each other for years. Like I was with Kevin McAnally's company for about 10 minutes, and I felt like I'd known him for 20 years. We've had to put certain safety precautions in place, but it hasn't in any way dampened that kind of camaraderie. Other highlights are we've so many assembled scenes. We had some brilliant scenes with the likes of Craig Ells, Craig Parkinson. We feel so many people in the scene, and it can feel really epic. It's been great. Well, you did actually say that about the last two series, that this was going to be an epic adventure, and we know what we got. Have you gotten used to being spotted everywhere by fans? 3 series on. I'm really lucky, as whenever I have a reaction, it's always really joyous, and everyone is really warm and welcoming. The fans are the show. There's no way a show can last this many years without the loyalty and a fan base. You don't have the show without them. To have those interactions when you have them is wonderful. She is right there, but it's unfortunately that this production team has forgotten that. And I'm not saying that she hasn't had, a warm and welcoming feel from fans that probably go on to the sets or go and watch the filming happen. Anyway, if you look at them, most of them are on Twitter anyway, and they're toxic, vile pieces of crap. So, I wouldn't really take any credence in what she says about fans. At the end of the day, this fandom and the British public have already spoken. They might have been warm and welcoming, but she's definitely not anybody's doctor. What journey does the Doctor have in this series? From where we left her, I think self-discovery is the biggest journey the Doctor goes on this series. Jesus Christ. That should have happened in the 4th series. Not the 3rd series, the 4th series. Every Doctor goes on a journey in the 4th series. That's all I have to say about that ridiculous statement. Can you tell us about any stunts you have this series? We've done a lot of wires this year, particularly for certain scenes in episode 1. It was mine and Mandeep's first few days on set. We started at the energy of 100. And then 2 days I was bruised and hurt and realised that this is why there are stunt doubles, as I am pathetic. Everybody will agree with you there. I'm not going to argue with you calling yourself pathetic. If that's what you want to call yourself, I'm not going to disagree with you. You do a lot of flips as you're falling through space and have spun yourself backwards in a rotation, and make sure you don't get tangled. It's all wonderful as you don't think at the time that you're able to do it. I also do sword fighting in this. Oh, Jesus, don't give her a weapon. Or maybe it's best described as avoiding being got by a sword. I really love that. Stunts wise, there were lots of action, but rather than jumping through cranes, it feels like a lot of falling through space. So they're giving this woman a sword. Maybe that's how she regenerates. Maybe she stabs herself. Right, we've got four more questions, I think, to go. So here we go for this part of the interview. Then I'll read some of your comments before we get into the next one. There are lots of exciting monsters this series. Can you tell us any that stand out for you? Right, let's see who she says. The thing that's fun about working with monsters that have been in it before, but are new for me, is that it makes you feel like you're getting your moment of history. Like Suntarans, for me, it's my first as the Doctor, so that was great. Well, I'm not going to really say anything about that. I mean, look, yeah, I'm glad you got the Suntarans, but maybe they'll put you in your place or something. The prosthetics are amazing. Do you get used to working with actors that you can't recognize? You forget that the makeup is on them after 10 minutes, as you're so used to seeing them having a cup of tea and talking to people. That's fair enough. Why should people tune into Series 13? Okay, this is the question. Right. Why should we all tune in? Let's see if Miss Whittaker can convince us all. Right. I am tuning in, by the way. But let's see, for those that don't want to watch this, let's see if this answer convinces anybody in the chat. So for you guys that are in the chat that are not watching this, I'm gonna read our answer and let me know, will this convince you to tune into Series 13? So why should people tune into Series 13? It's bigger and better than ever. It's my final full series. There'll be questions asked. There'll be answers. There'll be exclamation marks and huge exclamation marks. And I think that in itself will pique your interest and pique your curiosity. We'll go into the comments now in a minute after this last question. How would you describe the series in 3 words? A self-discovery roller coaster. Right, we'll stop sharing for a minute. There will be no more leaks, Mr. Fish, just to make it clear. There will be no more leaks on rumours or stuff that's going on in Series 13. The reason for that is because all the cast and crew are gone. So anybody that's out there that's putting out rumours and leaks now are lying. Because they've been gone. They're gone. Filming's already finished now. So there's nobody there at Roadlock or wherever they are to give people information and stuff like that. That's why BBC have put out the synopsis and all of that and the photographs. Right? Last year now I was able to get the synopsis to Spyfall Part 1 and Part 2. I threw it up and then BBC had the video taken down. But you're not going to get that much now because most of the people that have worked under them are gone. They were cleared out after Series 12 anyway when they came back for Series 13 because there's only 2 writers and 2 directors for this series. So the rest of the crew is gone. So this is the thing. You're not going to get any more new information from anybody unless it's former staffers that are annoyed at BBC and then decide to go and leak stuff themselves or give it to someone to leak. But there will be none. New team is coming in now, Bad Wolf Studios. It's going to be very hard now to get information now for the upcoming Series 14. And anybody that's claiming that they have sources, I'm going to tell you out straight now, they don't. Because Bad Wolf Productions is coming in and BBC Studios is taking over. So it'll be a whole brand new crew, whole brand new team. So people like me will have to try get in there with the new people and stuff like that. It's who you know. You know what I mean? So people out there claiming, you know, they still have sources. That's a lie. It's a lie. And I'll even come out and say it's a lie. It's a lie. I still have me sources. The problem is that they're not getting too much information now. So we just have to wait and see. Now, what I might be able to get me hands on is like what I did last year, right? You're not going to get any more of that stuff, but what I probably will get is I'll probably get an episode synopsis before it even comes out, right? The problem is I can't come on live and talk about it anymore after what BBC did to me channel the last time. They take giving away embargoed information as a serious thing. And as you all know, with the spy file information, I've proved it dozens of times, but there's still people out there that doubt it. But I did put out that spy file information and the video was taken down. And then I had to prove to me haters, I had to prove to them that this was actually legit and true, which I have done. But this is the thing now, there's no more stuff, right? And anybody out there that's saying that they're still getting stuff, they're lying. They're lying. And if there's people leaking stuff about Series 14, they're also lying, because RTD has come out himself already in an interview saying he's going to sit back and relax and watch the Jody Whittaker final series, that he hasn't even thought about Doctor Who yet. So if anybody is putting out leaked information about Series 14, they're lying, because there's Bad Wolf, BBC Studios have taken over now. So the brand new team, brand new people in there. So the people that were leaking all the old stuff for Series 11, 12 and this current series are gone now. They're gone, they're unemployed. Or they've been sent elsewhere on other shows. So don't be believing all the bull out there. You know me, I'm a straight shooter, I'll tell you out straight. Anyway, wanted to ask you guys, after listening to Jodie Whittaker's interview there, and obviously the question was asked why people should watch your last series. Did she convince anybody in the chat? So we got Daniel in the chat. We've got Matt Jones saves Guru. We've got Real Super Doctor in the chat as well. Mr. Fish is here as well. He says Doctor Who is finished. Doctor Who is not finished. Listen, fans need to get out of this negativity, right? Doctor Who is not finished. If Doctor Who was finished, it would be taken off air. Then it's finished. But it's not finished. It's going to continue under Bad Wolf and BBC Studios. So Doctor Who isn't finished. No matter how many people wish it to be finished because they hate this era, right? The bottom line is that they don't want to get rid of Doctor Who. So Doctor Who isn't finished, whether you like it or not. And that's the reality of the situation. And I know there are a lot of people out there that are saying, it's finished and RIP Doctor Who. But what they don't understand is it doesn't matter. You could use all the hashtags you want. It's going nowhere. BBC Studios have employed RTD to bring this show out of its slump and to move it forward. And there are plans beyond Series 14. So, like, don't be caught under the same thing, right? Doctor Who is not finished. It's not going anywhere, right? We got Daniel in the chat as well, the legend. Welcome. We've got Babette in the chat. We've got Maz in the chat as well. Some people are saying they're not going to watch. That's fair enough. The classic 80s fanboy. Not really. As you said, no, we've heard this rhetoric before. Of course, again, you're right. We have heard this rhetoric from Miss Whittaker before. We will have to wait and see. Peter, look, it's not dead. Doctor Who was not finished, right? They wouldn't be if it was finished, they would have cancelled it after RTD's era because it was received that badly and the ratings are down. But they decided not to. They decided that they want the show to continue. That's why they brought back RTD. People need to realise whether you think it's dead yourselves, right? Or whether you think it's finished, it doesn't matter, right? BBC Studios and Bad Wolf Productions are bringing the show forward. So in reality, it's not dead. It's not dead, and it won't be because RTD's announcement has already given the fan base a buzz, right? A buzz it hasn't had in 5 years. Optimism it hasn't had in 5 years. So already, and there, Matt is a perfect example of people in the chat. I will give RTD a go, and that's what I'm hearing from a lot of fans. Even fans that said that they were finished with this show, right, are coming back now and saying that they're willing to give RTD a go, right? If the show was dead and finished, as everybody is suggesting, right, none of this would be happening. The fandom wouldn't have gave a fuck that RTD is coming back. There wouldn't have been a big deal made about it, right? And fans would have just said, RTD, who cares? Right? But nobody said that. It gave the fandom a buzz, so I'm sorry I have to call it out. Doctor Who is not finished by the long stretch of imagination. It's not. Not with the fans, it's not. And certainly not with BBC Studios and now with Bad Wolf Productions. It's not. I'm sorry, but I have to play devil's advocate. I have to be honest. And I have to tell you as I see it. And that's how I see it. It's not. It's not. A lot of fans I've been talking to, I've had them on this channel as well, right? Just because there's some other YouTubers out there, and I know some of them myself, they just can't get out of their vicious circle, right? They will say whatever, right? Because they're disgusted with the BBC for what they've done. But whether they like it or not, Doctor Who is going to continue after Series 13 and these specials, which means the show isn't finished. So that's the reality of the situation. We got a $10 Australian super chat from Mr. Fish. He says, have a drink on me and watch it for Tim Shaw. Very funny, very funny. Look, I get where some of you are coming from, but this whole thing that Doctor Who is dead is not. It's not. That's the reality. Doctor Who will continue to have a future filled with both good and bad eras. Same as always, says Babette. And that's exactly what I would say. This current era for us was bad. It doesn't mean that the next era is going to continue down. And this is another thing that I'm seeing from fans as well, is that they think that RTD is going to continue what Chris Chibnall did. He's not. This is a full-blown rescue mission. He's back to win fans back over. So why would he continue something that has distanced itself from its fans? As Jody Whittaker said, you don't have a show around like Doctor Who if it isn't for the loyalty of fans. And seriously, that's long-term fans, because they stuck with it even when it was off air, right? By supporting it in other ways, buying the magazine, going to these forums, doing these conventions and stuff like that. So look, I'm sorry, I'm not subscribing to this whole thing that Doctor Who is dead and Doctor Who is finished, because that's not true. And that's the reality of the situation. And it's a fact. It's a fact, because RTD is back. I wish it was 2023. The way will be painful. I want to give RTD a go. I owe it to myself. Exactly. RTD I will approach with an open mind and heart. Exactly. And that's what I'm hearing a lot of. So, there are only a few out there that are banging this drum that Doctor Who is dead and they continue to do it, right? And in some aspects, listen, I'm not having a go. In some aspects, I get it, because for 5 years they've been treated like shit by this production team and by the media and stuff like that. But you have to look at these things objectively. And I don't think people are now, in the last year or so, I've said this, I don't think people are looking at things objectively anymore. They're not. They've gotten into this vicious cycle, unfortunately, And it happens. And again, I'm not blaming anybody or having a go. All I'm just saying is I don't think people are really. I don't think they can help it, but at the same time, I think they've just gotten into this cycle, and because of all the things that have happened, they can't see a way out of it. But you have to look at these things objectively. I'm sorry, and that's what I try to do on this channel, and I will continue to do that. You have to look at these things objectively. Um, it's going to continue to look at the McCoy era when it's cancelled, how long it took for the show to come back. Now the show can recover from the Whittaker and Chibnall era. Their Tarda Zone. Have you ever read the Doctor Who comic strips? No, I haven't read any of the Doctor Who comic strips. To be quite honest with you, what you call it? From what I've heard, actually, the comic strips haven't been doing too well. Some people have been complaining about them. But I heard the old comic strips that they used to do were very good. I don't really look at. I stopped getting Doctor Who magazine after the RTD era. I stopped. Even though, because Moffat's era, to me, Moffat's era is uneven and the stuff. Everybody knows my opinions on Stephen Moffat anyway. This is not a new phenomenon with me, by the way. People say that I just hate on Jodie Whittaker's era, but I was very critical of the Stephen Moffat era. So much so that I did stop buying the magazine. Babette says, whatever RTD does, he will face outrage from corners of the fandom. He will do something that will defy and subvert everybody's expectations. It will not look like his first time running the show. No, it certainly won't. And I don't want it to anyway. I've made this point on this channel. It can't be RTD Part 2. It needs to now, like, he's had a few years away now, so his writing, he's become a lot more successful, let's just say, and his writing, his character development has gotten praise. But when he comes back for Doctor Who, it is very important that we don't get what we got during his first era. It needs to grow, it needs to move on from what he gave us before, and we need to see some progression. And that's what we need. We need progression. So we'll see what happens, but that's exactly what needs to happen. We don't want to see the same thing over and over, because that no, it wouldn't work today anyway. It wouldn't work today anyway. He needs to do something completely different. He has proven himself, and he will have way more creative control. And I think that's what a lot of fans are missing as well, Babette. They don't realise with RTD coming back, especially with Bad Wolf Studios, his own production company behind him, could be soon taken over by Sony. But he wouldn't be coming back if he didn't have creative control. There's no way he'd come back to be told what to do by BBC Studios or anybody else that wants to tell him what to do, right? He doesn't need Doctor Who, right? He's won plenty of awards with his shows that he's done, right? He didn't need to come back to this show, but he's decided to come back on his terms. So there's no way that he's going to come back if he doesn't have full control. I'll say that. Daniel says, the announcement of RTD has encouraged me to at least give it one last go. If it were any other showrunner, it would have been harder, but because it's RTD, I'm back. Exactly. And that's why they brought him in. They know what they're doing. Listen, everything that they're doing is trying, whether people can see it yet or not, is trying to please the fans and the British public, right? Bringing RTD back is a masterstroke, in my opinion. You bring back the most successful showrunner of the New Who era, and he is more successful than Stephen Moffat, right? And his era is classed as the golden age of New Who. Little did we know that at the time when we were watching it, but it is when you look back, definitely is. But to bring him back is a stroke of genius. They know what they're doing. It's fan service, right? but I don't want that kind of stuff to be happening in the show. You know what I mean? He needs to move on now, progress his writing, you know, give us something that's different from his first era. And, you know, after, as I said, you know, it's look, we don't have long to wait. I know people think 2023 is a long way away, but it'll fly in. It'll fly in. Remember, we're a week away now. Well, we're only Sunday. Series 13 starts. The countdown officially starts then. Then 6 weeks later, the series ends, and then we have the first festive special on New Year's Day, and then before you know it, then we're in 2022. Right? And then we'll have a couple of more specials, and that'll be midway through. We'll be nearly there. Listen, it'll fly in. It'll fly in, folks. It will. I know that I'd rather have it tomorrow myself, but look, it'll fly in. You know, we know that RTD is coming home, right? So, you know, that's something to be actually hopeful and optimistic about. Now, for all these naysayers out there, the ones that say that us fans don't understand that Chris Chibnall or that RTD is more progressive than Chris Chibnall, you must be really stupid, because we know that RTD is progressive. The difference is he knows how to do it. Chris Chibnall hasn't got a clue. That's the bottom line. RTD is the master at getting messages across, or whatever agenda, right? Because he doesn't substitute the story. The story is still the main focus, right? But he adds all of these other elements, right? Along with great characters and great character developments and great story arcs. And combine it all together, you get what you got in his first era. So be under no illusion, J-Bots. We know exactly what we're getting with RTD. The reason why we're so pleased is because we know this man is the master of his craft. And to bring back the master of his craft after the success he's had after he's been with Doctor Who, right, is a master stroke. So, you know, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I'm excited. Right, let's get back into these interviews anyway. So the next interview would have been with Mandip Gill, and as I said, I'm not going to read hers because she's probably going to say how wonderful and great Jody Whittaker is, the Doctor. They're always complimenting, bleeding each other. But we'll do the interview with John Bishop now. No, we're not doing John Bishop's interview. What's his interview? Chris Chibnall. Chris Chibnall. See, I've even forgotten who the bleeding showrunner is. Right, so let's see right now. Remember, a Chris Chibnall interview, you all know how this is going to go. I'll be very surprised if there's something in this, if there's nothing, I should say, of substance in this interview, because he gives nothing away, right? So it's not that RTD exactly hides his views. No, he doesn't hide his views, Gobby Guy. That's the thing, he doesn't, and he does upset some people. But when it comes to Doctor Who, I think he knows what he can get away with and what he can't. And I think, you know, as he said himself, Doctor Who is one of the most difficult shows to write for. And he even said that during his first run, you know. So, you know, and again, he did years and years, and it's a sin. And people are saying, oh, well, he injects all of that into Doctor Who. These were stories that were personal to him. He's already got them out of the way, right? But be under no illusion, of course there'll be messages and signals in the RTD era. As I've said, he will just do it the way it's supposed to be done. He won't sacrifice the story for the agenda. Anyway, let's get into this Chris Chibnall interview, which I already know is not going to have anything of substance, man. Because when does this man ever give us anything? So here we go. The first question he was asked, which I think is actually a good question, actually. What was your vision for the series? My vision for the series was to create a massive story, bigger than we've ever told, with Jodie's Doctor. And to start with an episode that feels like a finale and carry on from there and play out the rest of the story, I wanted it to be really epic, to be fun with lots of cliffhangers, to be surprising, and to really do things we hadn't yet done with the 13th Doctor. I thought that was the whole point of the era anyway. But this worries me. So he's basically saying that he's going to start off the show as if it was season a season ending, right? Now, his season endings are shoddy anyway, right? But if we were to go on the past, say RTD and Stephen will talk about season endings, right? He's saying this is going to be spectacular. But if you're going to start off spectacular, that's all well and good. But you've got to keep that up now for the next 5 episodes. You know, you've got to keep that level up for the next 5 episodes until you actually get to the finale of your series. You know what I mean? Right. So what can people expect from the series? Okay, let's see. Does he give us that? People can expect a roller coaster of a ride. Very different episodes. 6 very specific chapters. Lots of different places in time and space. Lots of return of monsters. Some really brilliant guest stars. Some brand new monsters. And some of my favorite cliffhangers we've done. Do you remember when he actually did his very first interview and said that he was getting rid of cliffhangers and old monsters and all of this? And look at it now. Well, since series 12, I suppose. The first festive special, when people were giving out about that. But it's funny how he's done a complete U-turn. How do you write new characters and monsters? Oh, that is a very good question. Let's see what he says. I think you're always thinking who is interesting for the Doctor to come up against. Who is going to reveal new things about the Doctor? See, this is where he goes wrong. Right? And I'm just going to stop here, right? Because this is where he actually goes wrong. Right? I think this moron doesn't realize, right? We don't want anybody to reveal anything about the Doctor. The Doctor still has to stop. It's supposed to still have some sort of mystery behind a character. If you're going to start blabbing about the Doctor's past and giving the origin story away, well, then the Doctor's not going to have the same impact that they had before you did all of this. So again, this is where I think he's obsessed with this. And this is why I've said to people, I don't know why people are surprised about him continuing the story about the timeless child in series 13. It was always going to happen because he's obsessed, but he has been told to fix it. Now, whether he does or not now, we'll have to fucking see. But that's what he's being told. So he's obsessed with this, going to reveal new things about the Doctor. But with villains and monsters, generally you're looking for an interesting visual, an interesting idea. No, we're looking for an interesting story arc, interesting character development. And yes, you're right about an interesting idea. But it's funny that you started off with interesting visual. Something that will be scary or fun, or a mix of both, and an underlying character that will be great for an actor to play, or great for Dr. Dan or Yaz to be going up against. Even reading this interview is very mundane. So who are is it Raveners or Raveners? I can never get that right. There are a couple of characters we met, who we meet, who are creatures of another dimension, who have a history with the Doctor. But I think that I'm giving too much away. Oh, you dumb fuck. Seriously, you're giving too much away. You've given nothing away. Seriously, the sooner this man's era ends, the better. I'm gonna celebrate. I'm gonna run down the streets of Dublin in me nip. I'm only messing. Why is it important to bring back monsters from the past like the Suntarans and Weeping Angels. By the way, I'm going to find that interview because it's there. He actually doesn't like the Weeping Angels, right? He has actually said in an interview that he doesn't like the Weeping Angels, right? He said he wasn't going to bring back old monsters, right? So let's see what his answer is to this question, because we know he doesn't like them. So let's see what he says. First of all, it's a joy. I think it's always lovely to connect back into the history of the show, as the history is so rich and varied. Bringing back the Sontarans was a story I really wanted to do. Lawyer. I felt like there hadn't been a big Sontaran story for quite a long time. Lawyer. They have a great mix of threat and humor. They're very identifiable. They're great characters as well. A brilliant creation by Robert Holmes. They're great because they have range. They're dangerous, they're violent, they're also funny, and that's a great mix for Doctor Who. But you never wanted any of these, because in your very first fucking interview, you actually see you're contradicting yourself here. With the Weeping Angels, I really wanted Jodie to come up against them. Yeah, why not let the Weeping Angels grab her and put her back in the bleeding past, right? Salem witch trials, leave her there. I really wanted Jodie to come up against them, and we've been thinking about a story for her for a long time, testing out ideas. Liar. They're genuinely scary and a brilliant creation by Stephen Moffat, and they haven't been in the main Doctor Who story for 9 years, so they were due a comeback as well. Liar. There's lots of ideas that you can explore around the Weeping Angels, so we had a lot of fun with them. Liar. Can you tease us about what Flux is? The title of Flux literally means shit. It's divided into 6 chapters, and the Flux is a mysterious event that's going to leave us all having the shit. This is going to have an effect on all the characters in the story. Yes, it's going to give them all diarrhea. Now, I'll stop sharing that for a minute and I'll go back for a minute. I'm back. Right. Here's the thing, right? The reason why I'm calling him a liar is because he is a liar. Because he said he didn't like the Weeping Angels. He said he wasn't bringing old villains and foes back, right? That his series was going to be something completely different. And that's why we got Series 11, do you remember? Then there was a fan outcry, right? Because we didn't like what we got. So Series 12, from Series 12 out, no, sorry, I'm wrong. The Force Festive special is when he brought back the Daleks, even though he said he wasn't going to bring them back. He brought them back, right? So that's when he made the U-turn on his interview that he did, right? Because he said he wasn't bringing, that his thing was going to be a completely different animal altogether. Now, he's done U-turn after U-turn after U-turn. And I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm just going to throw that out there. This is Stephen Moffat's creation, The Weeping Angels. I don't care what anybody says. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a hand in writing them. Because why would he let a moron like Chris Chibnall destroy his creation? Now, don't get me wrong. I think Stephen Moffat ended up ruining The Weeping Angels. Maybe Chris Chibnall might bring them back to basics. That would be brilliant if he does. And I'll give him praise if he does do that. But how can you trust a man that has come out and criticised Weeping Angels, Daleks, and all of these other villains, Cybermen, and all of this in an interview that he done a few years back? How can you actually trust him to do these characters justice? We'll have to wait and see. But, you know, I have to call this out as I see it. The Daleks are not going to appear, I reckon, in Series 13. They may, but they definitely feature on one. He has to finish his Dalek story, and his Dalek story is not finished. Because if you watch these festive specials, he's trying to tell a Dalek story there. That story is not finished. So yes, I do believe that at some stage they will make a reappearance. Just like everybody was surprised that Sacha Dhawan might reappear. Jesus Christ, it's logical, folks. Has everybody? I know this series has dumbed down. Dumb is dumb, right? And it's for dumb people. But we're not dumb. We're clever. So if he didn't use our heads about Sasha Dewan coming back, what's happened? Maybe you are watching too much of the Jody Whittaker era, you know, because it was logical that he was going to make an appearance. It would make no sense after him revealing to the doctor that, oh, you're the timeless strike, that he never comes back. This is what I can't understand from fans from the other side, speculating whether he's coming back. You don't need to speculate. Use your brains. Or has the Jody Whittaker era turned his fucking brains into sawdust that you can't even figure this shit out for you ourselves? You don't need source information or to be bleeding Sherlock Holmes to figure this out. Of course he's coming back. Jesus Christ, man. Right, I wanna read the Matt Stevens interview. Now, Matt Stevens kind of does stay in the background the odd time, but he did come out with an interview after everybody gave about the cancer scene, and yeah, they came out on the defensive, and they were saying, well, they were in charge of the show, they would write the show how they felt the show should be written, right? They said it wasn't a democracy, and this fella was part of this shit, and you know, a lot of people actually, as I said, had high hopes for Stevens, that he'd be the man to rein in Chris Chibnall with his mad ideas, but he didn't. So let's see what he has to say, and this is the last interview. And again, I'll do what I've done for the last two interviews there and give me your opinion and have a bit of a laugh at their expense. How was your experience filming Series 13? Well, he says, it's been amazing. They all say it's amazing, don't they? It's been a long journey. We thought when COVID hit, to be honest, we didn't know whether we'd be back and how we'd make the show. So it was brilliant to be back, to start filming again and get the team back together again. You say that again quite a lot, don't you? We had a small delay due to COVID. So again, confirmed again by Matt Stevens that filming didn't begin when everybody was claiming it was. And we were the only channel at the time that was coming out straight and telling us that filming actually hadn't begun, that they were actually doing some other stuff. People tried to make it out was got to do with Doctor Who, and it was nothing to do with Doctor Who. It's been amazing, actually, and we've managed through all the challenges of last year. The fact that we've gotten this far seems slightly miraculous, but it's brilliant, and it's amazing testament to the cast and crew. It's brilliant to be back. It's been a real thrill. The one thing I will say about this cast and crew and the production team is they keep tapping themselves on the back quite a lot and congratulating themselves, don't they? Like everybody's had to adapt to COVID, right? So get over yourself, right? You're not the only industry that's had to adapt. What's in store for viewers this season? Now, a bit like Chris Chibnall, I don't think this man's going to give too much away, but let's see. Oh, geez, he does give a long answer here, so let's see. A Series 13 involved quite late in the day. Wow. What? Series 13 evolved quite late in the day. Do you know what that tells me? Is that they're winging it. They hadn't got a plan. None of this was a plan. And many times I have to tell people that because people were saying, oh, the Timeless Children was always a thing that he wanted to do. No, it wasn't. It was never a plan. He hadn't got a plan. He never had a plan from series 11 onwards, right? Whatever plan he had, right? When Series 11 aired, that plan was thrown out the window, right? He's had to come up with a brand new plan. That's why Series 12 gave us a bit more of the familiar, right? And now Series 13, it's evolved quite late in the day, which means they've only made the fucking thing up. We had a plan. No, you didn't. For what we wanted to do. And then the pandemic hit. And what we realised was that there were certain things we couldn't be able to do in a normal way, as we had for Series 11 and 12. So rather than be compromised, as what you want for Doctor Who is for every series to be bigger and better than the last, well, I have to say, it's not going to be very fucking hard if you get it right this time. And I think anything will be bigger than Series 11 and fucking 12. Let me see. So rather than compromise, bigger and better than last year, you don't want to rest in your laurels. Chris came up with a brilliant idea of going, why don't we just do something different for our era? Wouldn't it be great if we told one big story? Sorry to break the news to you, Chris, but RTD had one big story. Stephen Moffat had one big story. What are you on, you clown? Let's do something different for our era as if it's exclusive to us. We wouldn't be able to do the same number of episodes in the time that we had, so he came up with a fantastic idea of this overarching narrative, like what RTD did and that Stephen Moffat did. Jesus Christ, this is nothing new. No wonder we're in the shithole with this show. Each episode has the same bang for its book. Each episode has the story of the week. We've still gone for a filmatic quality for each episode, but much more than the previous 2 seasons. We tied it together with a massive overarching story for the Doctor and huge jeopardy for the Doctor. Who gives a rat's ass? Well, there will be jeopardy, all right. All the shit she's going to have to deal with. It picks up a lot of things the Doctor learned about herself. Oh, Jesus Christ. Nobody gives a shit, right, about a fucking female Doctor's feelings, right? Just fucking write the Doctor as the fucking Doctor and stop this fucking self-discovery shit, right? It should have happened in the first fucking season. It's lazy that she didn't do it in the first fucking season. And the thing about it is, we said this from the start, if you want to make a huge change like you did back in the day for Series 11, right? This should have been done. This should have been explained, and she should have went through that journey during Series 11. Fucking idiots. It picks up a lot of things that the Doctor learned about herself and her history at the end of the Series 12. I can honestly say it's not like the previous 2 series. Well, thank fuck for that. It's huge in its scope and its scale and the jeopardy. Also, but by the way, if the jeopardy is in it this time, is she going to come in the last minute and save the day and do absolutely fuck all like our Doctor's done in the last 2 seasons? Or he's actually going to write our Doctor smart and clever where she figures shit out this time? That's my question. It's a huge scope and its scale and the jeopardy. Also, we really tried to go as big as we could with the visuals as well. In terms of CGI and in terms of the design of the series, we tried to pull all the stops. So when you watch the show, whether it's in 5 years' time or whenever, no one will be able to say you made that during the pandemic. Nobody's going to be watching your shit era in 5 years' time, let alone this year. And they'll quickly forget about it when RTD comes back. Trust me, there'll be no talk of this stupid fucking era when RTD comes back and takes the reins. Nobody will give a shit. We didn't want that to impact on our experience for the audience. You have no fucking audience. Now, where do you find the Doctor and her farm at the start of the series? Oh, Jesus Christ almighty. Nobody gives a fuck. This year we got the wonderful Mandip Gill returning as Yaz the Plank. As it ended in last year's New Year's Day special Revolution of the Daleks, where we said goodbye to Graham and Ryan. This is the start of the adventure with Yaz the Plank and the Doctor. The Doctor is very much on the hunt for something, and we encounter a new friend of the Doctor, Dan Lewis, who was played by the brilliant John Bishop. I think when you've done 2 series of the show and you're coming back, it's really great to have the familiarity, but it's also really great to mix it up a bit and bring a new element to the cast and the teams on the TARDIS, and to see what that brings out in the other actors. It's great fun for Chris to create a brand new character who I know the audience will take to their hearts almost immediately. John is perfect in it, and Dan is a glorious character. Warm, funny, an action hero. Oh, we're going to have a male in it that's actually going to be a hero. Woohoo! Let's celebrate, everybody. We're actually going to have a man in it that's going to be a hero. Whoa, let's celebrate. Nobody gives a fuck. The moment John walked onto the TARDIS, he clicked with the other two. Well, that's because he did his character. He did his character audition. So they really made sure that he was the right person. The moment John walked on the TARDIS, he clicked with the other two and the team, and it was like he had been there forever. They always say that about people that come on. Oh, it's like I walked with these people forever, even though it's the first time I've worked with them. And why are they always so disingenuous? What kind of monsters do they face? Well, we already know. Weeping Angels, Sontarans, and whatever other bleeding bullshit they're going to bring back. So we don't need to answer that question because, like, he's there, Sontarans and shit. So we already know the answer to that. What were some of the challenges you faced? Okay, I think the biggest challenge was to keep the scale of Doctor Who as big as it had been. With every series, you want to go one better than the last series in terms of that. Listen, mate. I'm going to tell you out straight, you have no problem of making this one bigger than the last two because the last two were shit and put the ratings in the shitter, right? So you've nothing to worry about. If you've gotten this, if you've given us something half decent, if you do give us something half decent, trust me, compared to what you have made in the last two series, this will be fucking Oscar worthy. So don't worry about it. It's not a hard challenge at all. If you actually use your fucking talent, you will actually do something that justifies fans to come out and say, yes, that was a great series of Doctor Who. So, as we couldn't travel, the challenge was to create worlds. So you weren't given all the money to go to South Africa again and blow your money on a stupid fucking and in Spain as well. Like, anyway, should have stayed at home. Be interested to see how you do it anyway. Now that you don't have to be able to fly to South Africa for a holiday. The other one was with a really stellar returning cast. I will say one thing about Chris Chibnall's era. He has managed to get on some of the cream of the crop of British talent on the show. It's such a shame that he's actually ruined them all. With the characters that he's given them to play. Absolutely disgraceful. This year, the guest actors have the opportunity to have reoccurring appearances across the episodes. Can you tell us what we can expect? For me, it was a real joy to welcome Craig Parkinson, who have worked briefly on Misfits. Yeah, I've watched Misfits. He played the probation worker in it. I think he's a great actor. Can't wait to actually see him in this now that I know he's in it. But again, it'll be, can they do these characters and these actors and actresses justice with the writing and the characters that they've given them. But I'll always follow his work and career. I think he's a wonderful actor. For him to bring his unique qualities to one of our greatest characters of the series, it was just a joy to watch him work. I think he is a wonderful actor. For him to bring his unique qualities to one of our greatest characters of the series. Now, are they talking about one of the greatest characters of this series or of the past? Kevin McAnally, I've watched him for years and I always thought he was an exceptional actor. So he goes on about how good the actors are there. I don't really want to read that. The atmosphere on the set with our guest actors, all of them have been absolutely glorious and all of that. So, and then he asks him the same question: what is Flux? So Flux is the title of the series. In fact, this is the first time we've titled this series as It's One Epic Story. It's kind of the biggest nemesis that the Doctor has ever faced. It's a huge destructive force, but quite what it is and why it's become unleashed will become apparent as you watch the serial unfold. It's quite awe-inspiring and terrifying, and the way it's released on screen will be, I think, quite breathtaking for audiences as they realise what Flux is and what the flux does. Well, I know what the flux does. It comes out your ass. It's diarrhea. Do you ever like seriously like check out these words that you're using? Um, Joke, by the way. What does Doctor Who mean to you, and what will you take away from the experience? Firstly, it's something that's always been around in my life. It's something I've watched as a child, and something that's never been out of my consciousness or cultural life of the country. So it's immense in terms of British icons. It's not a British icon anymore. It's that and Bond for me. So to be part of it in the way is surreal, and it'll never stop being surreal. When it's all over, I'll feel a bit. When it's all over, it'll all feel a bit of a dream. I wish it was a fucking dream. Of course, there have been challenging times, but all of that is tiny in terms of what I'll take away from it. It's being the longest job of my television career and probably be a last. I doubt there'll ever be a longer one. 12th of Doctor Who history. Being part of the story is a privilege, and it's something that no one can ever take away. You're right, nobody could ever take away what you've done for Doctor Who, which is absolutely destroy it. So it's nice just to be a small footnote in the Doctor Who. That's all you are. You're just a footnote, a bit of pus off a sore. That's all you are. You soon disappear and you'll be gone. Now, here's the question that Chibnall or that Jodie Whittaker was asked. And this is the question for Matt Stevens too. For anyone that hasn't watched Doctor Who before, why should they watch the series? Now, let's see what he says. If you've never seen it before, you can step into this story. If you like a great action adventure story with great fully rounded characters, lots of humor, lots of explosions, and really pacey storytelling, at the end of the day, it's great fun and something you can watch with the whole family. It's something everyone can enjoy. If you were ever going to come on board with Doctor Who, now is the time. No, it's not. If you want to jump on board with Doctor Who but don't want to watch classic era, I suggest that you start off with Christopher Eccleston's first series. Don't mind this bullshit from Matt Stevens, Jody Whitaker, and all these other idiots that are telling you that this is a good jumping off point. It isn't. It isn't. Right? Go back and watch it from 2005 and watch it all the way up. And then when you get to this era, then you'll see what we're talking about on how they destroyed a great franchise. So there are the 3 interviews anyway from those complete and utter morons. Thanks be to God that they're actually officially finished now, and we'll never see them anywhere near Doctor Who again. I just can't wait for this era to disappear off the face of the planet. Of course, I will be watching it myself. I hope they can surprise me, but again, I will just say, the last 2 seasons have not filled us with any hope. Our expectations have become very low because of the last 2 seasons. So let's see, can he actually go out on a high? And that's the question I will be asking when we do the Target Zone talks, along with people's hopes and expectations for the upcoming Series 13. But again, Babette, you're right. No, you think people behind the production would Google these words that they're using, but they don't. They obviously don't. Or they do, and it's deliberately done, which is even more sinister, just to put that out there. So again, as I said, after reading those interviews, does it make me believe that they can do what they say they're going to do? Well, if you look at the past, you would say no. And I still have my doubts that he can pull this off. But I have been told before, obviously, the clear out was done, that that this is probably some of the best writing that he has done for the show. So I don't know. The only way I will find out is when I watch. But again, I got to see the little John Bishop teaser tonight, and I will agree with Jody Whittaker on one aspect of our interview is that John Bishop was funny in that clip, and it wasn't forced. It felt very natural. He was talking to his mate, and it was funny. I will say that. But just because that one little clip is funny, it can be deceiving. We will have to wait and see what happens with this era. But I will say this from my perspective, I'm finding it all very interesting and fascinating. And the reason why I'm finding it interesting and fascinating is because this can only go two ways. It'll either be a continuation of what we've gotten, which is complete and utter rubbish, or it does go the other way. And he actually does surprise us all. And he actually does give us some of the best writing. But again, then, if that is the case, I will say openly, why did it take this long to produce your best writing for Doctor Who? The thing that worries me is this whole thing of the Doctor discovering themselves. That should have happened during the first series. So that kind of does worry me. Why would they be doing a discovering? Or maybe it's the Doctor as such, but she just happens to be the Doctor. Maybe I am interpreting that wrong, but still, the Doctor isn't the whole point of the Doctor. He is going on a journey of discovery. It's like what Chris Chibnall and Matt Stevens are talking about. You think we're never done in Doctor Who before. Like, the fact that he's come out with the line that, we're going to do a serialization in our era as if it never happened before. Or an overarching story arc. Like, that's happened before, but the way they're talking, have they watched Doctor Who? This is what I'm starting to think. Have they actually watched Doctor Who? Like the new Who? Because, this was a thing during New Who, and it was also a thing during the classic era. Anyway, this is what I can't understand with Chris Chibnall and Matt Stevens with these comments. Like, they're talking about, that our season, our series will have, as if it's exclusive. It's not exclusive. It's been done before. But look, I know a lot of you are not watching this era, but a lot of you have said that you will watch me streams to see what I have to say about it, which is fair enough. But for me, it is going to be very interesting. And I do suspect that I kind of, because you brought that comment up, I do suspect though that people that are publicly saying that they're not going to watch are going to secretly watch. And I'll tell you why I believe that. It's because it is our last series, and they know she's gone. And I remember people saying to me, even on this channel, well, if I know she's gone, I'll watch her last series because I need closure. Right? I think people have forgotten that they said that. But I know that there are people even in this chat, right, that will say that they're not watching, but will watch secretly. But I'll say that they're watching. I know they will. Because, if I wasn't really watching, right, or no, well, I am watching, right? But if I came out and I said to you, well, I'm not watching, right, I'd be watching. I'm not going to lie to you, I'd be watching. I'm starting to get the feeling that Chris Chibnall is going to do something unexpected that may shock a lot of us that aren't fans of this era. Marty, I'm kind of leaning towards that myself, but we'll have to wait and see. But I tell you, from what I've seen so far, right, and I know some people still disagree with me about the trailer, but I thought the trailer was decent. Right, I really did. And the little teaser that I saw tonight with John Bishop, that was very funny. I'm starting to come around to the idea that maybe he will surprise us. And I want to be, I want this show to end on a high, because I want it to be in a better state for when the RTD takes over, because the RTD might, he might be a great writer, a great director, all of this other stuff, but he's not a fucking miracle worker, So let's hope that he can leave the show a good, healthy state. So yeah, as I said, I've watched it from the beginning. Watched the very first episode all the way up until now, the last festive special. I'll watch the final series. I'll watch the specials, and then we move on to the RTD era. And there's still talk about this. I firmly believe RTD will regenerate the Doctor into a non-human form. I don't agree with you there. I don't think he will. No, he won't. He won't. Never happen. Not in a million years. And I know there was a throwaway line in Christopher Eccleston's regeneration, but he even admitted himself at the time that it was a joke. He just threw that in there for a bit of laughter. He wasn't being serious. It won't. It'll look like a human, as it always has. He's not going to do that. There's no way. No. It won't happen. It won't happen. Because the Doctor reflects us. Right? That's why he uses it. This is why the Doctor is connected to humanity. He sees humanity in himself, and, he wants to help humanity to become better. And he looks human. That's the whole point. So no, I don't. It's not going to happen. And if you're right, I'll bring you on, and you can tell everybody that you told me so. But I don't see it happening. Even you saying that we move on to the RTD era gives me shivers. I cannot wait. Let's see what the comment was. I cannot. See, the chat is jumping now. Jesus Christ. Where is it? Jesus, how did it go up that far? Oh yeah. Even you saying that we move on to the RTD gives me shivers. I cannot wait to see his name in the titles again at TARDIS on YouTube channel. I know it will be good to see his name come up again. I will say that. I don't know, Mark. Mark asks, do you think that they will make more time as children doctors, but only have them in a spin-off media like books and Big Finish, but not on a TV show? I don't know. I really don't. It'll be interesting to see after Whittaker leaves. Remember, Peter Capaldi hasn't done any Big Finish audios, right? Because I think he's chosen not to do them. We don't know if it'll be very telling if Jodie Whittaker decides to do Big Finish or not. And even if she does decide to do Big Finish, it won't be for a while anyway. It'll be a couple of years after she's already left the show. It won't be straight away. As for the what you call it, I'm trying to think of them. You've got the comics, don't you, from what's that company that do the comics? They could explore a little bit more, especially the team that's behind the Jodie Whittaker books that has all female writers and stuff like that. They could take up the story and do their own thing. But there was talks and rumors that there could be a possibility of this female line being continued in a completely different series that's away from the main show, not called Doctor Who, but have whether it's true or not, we'll have to see. He might actually do it in this season and have them separate. therefore won't interfere with our main timeline, but it maintains the new timeline. Then that way it won't upset fans on either side. See, if he usually said he could do that, maybe he is doing that. I don't know because I haven't seen the series yet. But that's what he would need to do, in my opinion, if he's not going to go down the route that the Master lied to the Doctor, right? So, you know, he could have them separate, like you have the Kelvin timeline and the Prime timeline in Star Trek. They could do the same with Doctor Who. No, but they won't, Babette, he won't do that. He won't do that. Christian, look at RTD was not going to give a shit what fans think of his casting, whether it's a man, woman, or whatever, right? He's not going to give a shit. He doesn't care, right? At the end of the day, he'll make the choice that he thinks is best for the show. He's not going, the Doctor is not going to regenerate into a non-human. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. No matter how progressive the BBC get, right? Or whatever, it's not going to happen. It'll never happen. I'm sorry, I don't see it happening. As I said, RTD, people are bringing this up because RTD has mentioned it a few times, but he did say it was a joke. He did it during Christopher Eccleston's regeneration scene as well. He put in a throwaway line there. It's all a joke. The Doctor will not be non-human. The Doctor will be human. Right? It'll look human, I should say. Not human, even though they are human playing the Doctor. But you know what I mean. It won't be a non-human character. No way. No. Not a chance. Well, again, this rumor floating about who the next Doctor is bullshit because look at, as I said, RTD is doing absolutely nothing. He's already said it in an interview. He's going to be sitting back and relaxing and watching the Jodie Whittaker era unfold. He says he hasn't even gotten into what he's doing yet or had any thoughts about casting or like that. They just announced that he was coming back. Right now, while he might have a clear plan of what he wants to do and has an idea who he would like to cast as the Doctor, nobody is being cast. Nobody, because he's even said it himself. So for people out there that are saying that the 14th Doctor, wherever you've seen that rumor on, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Reddit or Gallifrey Base or you've seen it from a Therese video or something like that. He's lying. They're lying, right? No decisions have been made on casting yet. So I don't know where these rumors and names are floating about. This is the media and and a few other people out there trying to push an agenda. Again, another female. Have you noticed? There's Jodie Comer a few weeks back, Michaela Cole weeks before that, right? And other actresses, right? And they all have upcoming jobs, right? So this is another name that's just being thrown out because she happens to be a woman, right? Nobody knows who he's casting. Names have been floating about, but he hasn't made any decisions because he's even said so himself. Because he's not even thinking. This is what he said. I'm not even thinking about Doctor Who at the moment. There's still a full series of Jodie Whittaker to come, and like the rest of the fans, I'll be sitting down in anticipation to see what happens. Right? So there's no decisions on casting made. This is another stupid rumor going around by people that are trying to force an agenda. Oh, let's bring back another female Doctor. Let's upset my doctors and all this. Upset a hashtag, by the way, because it's not a group. It was people that used the hashtag. It's not even a group. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that myself, to be quite honest. The last thing RTD wrote last year directly said that the Doctor had non-human forms, but he's not going to do it on the TV show. It doesn't matter what he wrote. Doesn't matter what he wrote. They always contradict themselves. He's not. He's going to. I'll tell you now. I reckon he's going to cast a bloke. If he casts a woman, I reckon it'll be someone like Lydia West. If he casts a woman. But 3 years ago, he still spoke about the Doctor in male terms, even though Jodie Whittaker was the current Doctor. He was talking about the Doctor in male terms on a BBC Writers video, which I threw up on Twitter, by the way. You can find it yourselves. BBC's Writers Room. Go and watch his interview, right? He talks about the Doctor in male terms, not female terms or non-life form terms or any other term that you want to come up, male terms. And that was only 3 years ago. The casting of the next Doctor will be made for creative reasons, not political. Exactly. And that's why, look, he's not going to go down a non-life form route. No way. No, not from the names that I've been hearing. There's no way. No. And in fairness, look at it this way, right? What actor or actress in their right mind would come in and play the Doctor if they're going to have their face completely changed? Right? It's this whole thing with Pedro Pascal as well. It's been floating about on The Mandalorian that he hasn't been happy because he has to keep wearing the helmet. And that's why we've seen the helmet off a couple of times so he can get his face in. Actors and actresses are vain, right? They like hearing their own voices. They like seeing their own faces. There's no way he's going to go down that route with the Doctor. No actor or actress is going to play that role if he's going to have the whole face in prosthetics. No way. So RTD could, but he's not. Why? They're not going to go down that route. Definitely not. I tell you what, Babette, right? I do the Tarda Zone talks on Friday, right? Come on, bring up your suggestion, and we'll see what everybody thinks. I'm telling you now, it's not going to happen. Not from the names I've heard. There's no way that Michael Sheen, right? Because he's one of the names, by the way. And I've been told that not to rule him out. Michael Sheen, right? If he was to play the Doctor and say, given the role, there's no way he's going to come in there and have prosthetics on his face and not be recognised as Michael Sheen playing the Doctor. It's the same with an actress. They're not going to come in and play the role of Doctor unless they're a Jodie Whittaker style actress and they don't really give a shit because it'll just make their profile bigger or make their CV look better, right? But at the end of the day, no actor or actress in their right mind, right, and that values their career would actually let RTD make them non-human to become the Doctor when their faces wouldn't be recognised. No, not happening. It won't happen. Sorry, no, but every decision made by the current BBC has political dimensions. Yeah, well, it's just as well that the new era on the RTD won't be under BBC control. So I suppose, that won't be an excuse for fans to use anymore because it's taken out of BBC's hands now. It's going to be with Bad Wolf Studios and the commercial arm of BBC Studios. And under BBC Studios, which would have been around the 50th anniversary, they were very influential in the promotion of the 50th and all the stuff that happened. The good years and the hype years of Doctor Who. So it's not under BBC control anymore. So everybody needs to get that out of their heads as well now. Only this current era is under BBC's control. The next era under RTD is not under BBC's control. And people need to get that into their heads because that's exactly what it is. So someone asked who Bad Wolf is. Bad Wolf Productions is the production company that RTD, I think Julie Gardner and a couple of other people that worked on Doctor Who set up. It's a production company which produces shows. So his Dark Materials, I think, is under Bad Wolf Productions and other shows like that. RTD coming back, he's not coming back because, you know, BBC are going to tell him what to do. Because as I said, they have no say now. It's the commercial arm of the BBC and Bad Wolf Productions are driving this, right? So you have money from Bad Wolf Productions, which could be, by the way, taken over by Sony, hasn't been sorted out yet, and that could be breaking news in the next few months or so. We don't know, right? But you're going to have the money from BBC Studios, the money from Bad Wolf Productions, right? And RTD is only coming back because he has control. It's going to be under no BBC mandate, by the way. So I know there are a couple of channels out there saying that nothing's going to change under RTD because BBC still have control. They're lying to you. BBC Studios is the commercial arm. They've nothing. It's a separate entity from the BBC, and anybody knows their stuff knows this, right? It's easy for you to find out yourselves. Go and look at it. Completely different, right? It might have BBC in their name, right? But it's the commercial arm. They're the ones that make shows successful, make or break shows, basically, right? So you have his Dark Materials and the Discovery of Witches are both under Bad Wolf Productions. There you go. Nicholas has explained it all there too. So that's the thing. So there are still people coming at me and saying, well, RTD is going to give us more of the same because it's BBC are still in control of it. That is a blatant lie. A blatant lie. BBC are not in control of this current, this new era that's coming under RTD. BBC, obviously, yes, on the current era right now, it's still under the same regime, right? But when RTD comes in, it's going to be completely under a new regime, nothing to do with BBC, nothing to do with Piers Wenger, by the way, as well. No matter what he says in interviews, it's nothing to do with him. He decides, exactly, he decides, RTD will decide who he casts as the Doctor, he'll cast as companions, which way he wants his TARDIS to look. He'll obviously, as I said, there was a big meeting anyway between him and some of the licensees. They all sat around a table. They talked about the show. They talked about the state the show is, the state the licensees were in. Everybody got their input in. But at the end of the day, he gets final fucking decision. So I just want to make that clear because there are still fans that are coming at and still YouTubers out there that are pushing the narrative that nothing's going to change under RTD, right? It's already changed because BBC is no longer running the show. So there is change. There is change. So, but again, I'll always say, you know, look, I don't blame some of these people out there that are keeping this rhetoric up. BBC has told them that they're worthless, they're not fans for the last 5 years. They tried to throw us out of the fandom. So I understand where they're coming from, right? But they're wrong. No, the most recent series was not produced by BBC Studios. What happened was all the social media accounts were recently took over by BBC Studios. BBC Studios only took over a few months back, right? So they've nothing to do with the Chris Chibnall series. It's nothing to do with them. It's got still BBC. And by the way, even if they did, I'll just throw that out there to be fair as well. But even if they did, BBC Studios for now would go with what Chris Chibnall's doing because it's his era. So after that, then that'll be it, right? But it's not on the BBC. BBC is running the show. Because Roadlock is part of BBC, not BBC Studios. They closed down Roadlock now because Bad Wolf Productions has taken over, different production team. So it does look. Either way, look, it doesn't matter. People are still trying to make an excuse, right? Whether it's was the reason series because they're looking for something, right? Because people can't get it out of their heads that, you know, or change their opinion because of what's happened the last 5 years. Again, I don't blame some people, but you've got to be objective here, right? You've got to look at what's already happened to show you that there's already change afoot. But people are refusing to see that change because, well, in some instances, they want to keep up the narrative because it brings in the clicks and it brings in the likes and it brings in the super chats, right? In other cases, is they just can't get out of the echo chamber that they're in because of everything that's been going on. And again, you know, for those people, I don't really blame them because it is hard to get out of that cycle. Trust me, it is hard, right? But you've got to look at all of this objectively, right? There's already changes afoot. And what people fail to understand is that everyone from the Chibnall era is gone once RTD takes over. Those working on the new era will be from Bad Wolf and potentially new hires from RTD. Well, it's already being told. Chris Chibnall's already said it in an interview that you have to get rid of everybody. That there's a smaller team there. There's himself, Maxine Alderton, and 2 directors, right? Matt Strevens, obviously, because he's one of the executive producers. So that's the thing. There was already a clear out done. So those people are already gone. That you're right, Marty. But people don't want to see that. They don't want to see it, or they're just ignoring it because it doesn't fit their narrative, right? Because remember, Doctor Who is dead. Doctor Who is finished. Right? Now, I used to think like that myself, but obviously RTD's announcement changes everything. It does. It shows me, and as I said, it shows me that they actually want what's best for the show. You wouldn't be bringing back RTD if you didn't want what's best for the show, because he gave us the best era in New Who. So they're bringing back the man that gave us the best era in New Who. They wouldn't be doing that if they didn't give a fuck. Look, as I said, I get why some fans are the way they are, right? And I get why some YouTubers are the way they are. But you know me, I'll call it out. I don't think people are being objective about this. And there will be a lot of people that will be surprised that I can be this objective after what's happened the last few years. But as I said, I've gotten sick and tired of all the bullshit. You know, yes, we had 2 bad seasons. Yes, it hasn't went well, right? But it's coming to an end. So I want to look forward to the future with a bit of hope and optimism. But there are some people out there that want to drag us all down and say, oh, no, it's going to be more the same. No, it's on the BBC. BBC are going to be telling them what to do and all of this. Right? You just have to leave it out. You know, at the end of the day, you know, let us fans have this. If we're wrong, right? If we're wrong and we have egg in our faces, well, then that's our problem. Nobody's asking you to agree with us, but at the end, they let us have our opinions and views on it. Sick of this. So I even said this a few weeks back to someone. I won't mention who sent me the message. I don't have anything to do with them anymore. But literally someone wrote me a message that said, no, you're a sellout. How can you go and say these things after all the things that you've said? Right? And I was like, what do you mean? I said, I've always tried to be as objective as I can. I will call a spade if I see a spade, right? At the end of the day, there's no airs and graces about me. I give me honest opinion and I call things out as I see it. That's what I've done for the last 2 eras, right? Just because this all started when I was complimentary about the latest festive special, by the way. People didn't like the fact, even on the other side, the J-bots, giving out that I actually liked certain elements of the festive special, right? And it's been the same response that I've gotten because I liked Loki. I got a lot of stick for that as well. I liked WandaVision, got a lot of stick for that as well. Mandalorian got a lot of stick for that as well. And because I came out and said that I actually thought that the Doctor Who teaser trailer, whatever you want to call it, trailer, because I thought it was decent, I'm getting a lot of stick for that as well. Right? It's my opinion. You know what's funny? There are a lot of people out there say, everybody's entitled to their opinion. On this side, by the way, I'm not talking about the other side because they lie all the time. Right? I'm like, do you remember, you hypocrite, when you said that we all entitled to our own opinion? Well, I'm entitled to my opinion, right? And I don't care. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't really care if people agree with me or not agree with me, right? I don't. But I'm not going to stop having my opinions because I might upset someone. Do you know what? After I came out and I praised the trailer, I lost followers on Twitter. And I lost subscribers on the channel. Because apparently I'm a sellout. Did I say Series 13 is going to be great, spectacular? Have I sat here, praised Chris Chibnall, Jody Whitaker, Mandy, John Bishop? Have I praised them? Have I actually seen the series yet? No. So, you know, just because I didn't like the last two series doesn't mean that this one's going to go down the same route. He could surprise us. Right? Doesn't mean he will, but he could. So far, what I've seen, this is the word I've used. It's made me interested to see what he's going to do. Right? Have I come out and said I love it? Am I licking his balls or something? I get a bit of perspective here. Right? At the end of the day, right, I've always been a straight shooter with you guys on this channel, right? I've always given my honest opinion. And I will never shy away from that. And just because certain people out there want to keep the same rhetoric going, right, for this series, I'm not going to do that unless there's a reason to. And right now, there is no reason to be continuing the same rhetoric that we've had for Series 12, Series 11, because we've seen absolutely fuck all of the series, except a couple of teasers, a couple of pictures, and a few interviews here and there, right? We've seen nothing on the screen yet. And on Sunday, I'll be sitting down and I'll be watching it. And then I will give my views and opinions on the very first episode. And then you will see whether I liked it, disliked it, thought it was meh, it was okay, or whatever, right? But you'll always get my honest opinion. I don't shy away from giving it. And I'm not afraid to upset people even on this channel. If I like something that all you guys don't like, or you have supported me because I haven't liked this here, and then all of a sudden I come out and I start praising this here, but you don't agree with me, that's fine, fair enough. But at the end of the day, if I do think that this here is good, this series is going to be good, I'm going to come out and say it's good. I'm not going to lie for the sake of clicks, for the sake of likes, for the sake of views. You will get my honest opinion. If I like it, I'll say I like it. If I don't like it, I'll say I don't like it, and I'll give you reasons why I don't like it, and I'll also give you reasons why I like it. Right? Now, people can agree and disagree with me all they want, but I'll always be truthful, and I'll always give my honest opinion. And I think that's why a lot of you do support this channel, because you know with me that I'm not going to beat around the bush and bullshit you. Right? I'll give me honest opinion, and I'll continue to do that. And trust me, by the way, while I am excited for RTD to come back, right, I'm under no illusion that this could go wrong and go the other way, right? But at the end of the day, I'm going to hold on to that excitement of that announcement. And I'm going to wish the best for the show. Because at the end of the day, I'm a Doctor Who fan, right? And I want this show to succeed. I don't want it to fail anymore. So, I just don't get why people are still just bogged down in the negativity. We should be seeing this RTD announcement as it is right now, something positive, something to look forward to. I might end up with egg on my face, and all of those people that are supporting this RTD announcement, we might all end up with egg on our faces. But that's for us to own. It's not for people to come out and start criticising us because we're coming out and saying something positive. I get a lot of this that I say a lot of negative stuff all the time. But as soon as I try to be positive about something, I get criticised. So I can't win either. I said this the other night to someone when I was having a private conversation with them. You just can't win either way nowadays. You're going to upset someone somewhere down the line. And to be honest, I've gotten to the point where, well, if I upset you, that's your problem, not mine. Would you keep Alonzi as a catchphrase? Look, let's see. Look, I don't want RTD point two. I want something brand new from RTD. I want something that we've never seen before from RTD. I don't want a rehash of what we got in 2005, because that won't work today. He has to come up with something new, fresh, and brilliant. Have you read RTD's introduction to his novelization of Rose, where he endorses the timeless child and the shows he's knew about it on that he knew about it before Series 12? Right, but that's the novelization of a book. Is it in the main show? Is the book's canon? In novelizations, and this goes back to the very first one, they always make changes to what we got in the original story on screen. So I don't care what he wrote in the novelization, because it's not canon. So again, I will say to you, in the novels, you can get away with stuff. Stephen Moffat's stories that were novelized as well had some stuff in it that he couldn't put in the main show. So it doesn't matter. People are just, again, digging up, oh, look what he said in novelization, or look what he said here, this, that, and the other. You've seen absolutely nothing that he's done yet, because he hasn't produced that yet. And already people want to judge him on a novelization or something, or a line that he said here, there, and everywhere, right? Wait until you see what he actually does first, right? RTD will not rely on what he's done before. He will cherry pick what works, but TV has changed since and when he was last in charge. He will do fan service for the 60th and then new stuff. Yeah, I agree. Again, you're looking for another excuse there. He did it during the Christopher Eccleston regeneration, where he had a throwaway line in there, said the Doctor could change into a cat or an animal or something. This is nothing new. Yous are digging up stuff that we already know about. So he already said that line. So here's the question I'll pose to you, right? So you're saying that the Doctor had once regenerated into a cat, right? But in 2005, during Christopher Eccleston's regeneration, he literally put a line in there. Where was the outrage from fans then? Because if you gave out back then I'd understand why you are giving out now. But it's again people looking for excuses to knock people who are excited about the RTD era, because they're trying to bring us down a peg or two, because you don't like the fact that there are some fans out there that are actually delighted about this announcement. As I said, I don't care what he's written in novelizations. I don't care what he suggested. Right? At the end of the day, are any of the did he do any? Was he part of these shows when he said these things? No. Right? When he was part of it, he had a line in it when Christopher Eccleston was regenerating. So if you had a problem with the animal comment, well, then you should have had a problem with it back in 2005. And that's the point. People are trying to cherry pick things to say, well, this is a reason why you shouldn't support RTD. And I'm getting a lot of that, and I got a lot of that from day one since I came out and said I was excited about it. But no amount of little comments like that is going to change my opinion on the fact that I'm excited for RTD coming back. So you're blowing up the wrong chimney there, because I don't really care, right? Nobody's going to change my mind about me being excited about RTD coming back. RTD was authorised to make those statements by the BBC. That is not the issue of RTD's writing fanfic. It doesn't matter. RTD was not authorised to do anything by the BBC because he's not working for the BBC. All these shows have been produced by Bad Wolf Productions. He's nothing to do with BBC. He doesn't work for BBC anymore. So why would he be authorised to say those statements by the BBC? That makes no sense whatsoever. Again, if you could show me proof where RTD was authorised to make those comments, fine, fair enough, I'll take it back. But show me proof. Don't just come in here with a statement and say that RTD was authorised to make those statements by the BBC. Have you got proof to actually back that up? Because as far as I know, RTD's his own man, has his own production company. He doesn't take orders, he gives them. He gives the orders. And this is why he's coming back to Doctor Who. He wouldn't be coming back to Doctor Who if he had to take orders from the BBC, which he's not. He's coming back because he has full control. That's why Bad Wolf Productions are part of this. So he made sure that he has control over the creative decisions that are made. So again, you know, a lot of these statements, a lot of these things that are floating about, a lot of these things that fans are talking about are designed to try and for fans like us that do have hope to kind of bring us down a little bit, saying that it's not all rosy and all this. Listen, we're under no illusion. We don't know anything yet. But right now, the RTD announcement, as I said, has excited a lot of fans, right? And nobody can take that away from them, no matter what people say out there. And as I said, nobody's going to spoil this for me, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't care what he did in novelizations, as I said. I don't care what comments he made recently. Doesn't affect me. Let the people that have a problem with RTD have the problem with RTD. My job on this channel is to critique him on his writing for Doctor Who. Right now, we have absolutely nothing in front of us, right? So I'm going to remain excited and buzzed like a lot of other fans out there. It doesn't matter. Again, you're just trying to come up with, I don't care what he done. I don't care what he done during lockdown, right? He was even taking the piss out of the timeless child, if you want to go down that route then, right? So was Stephen Moffat. So again, I don't care what he said. I don't care what he novelized. I don't care what animation he done and who was fucking ordered by. I don't care. Right? RTD is coming back under Bad Wolf Productions. I don't care what he done. And he took the piss out because he said there's 557 regeneration comments on Twitter. Go and check his Twitter account, still up. Those tweets are still there for everybody to see. I've even done videos on them on this channel. Even the ones where Stephen Moffat is taking the piss out of them. Daniel says, fake outrage. I'm still hyped for RTD and nobody's going to drag me down either. Exactly. I'm sick of this. It's big YouTubers as well. I'm not saying it's you, Ardios. You're just giving your point of view, and that's fine, fair enough, and you're trying to explain things to us. But it's not that we don't know these things. We just don't care. We don't care because none of it is canon, right? Those lockdown stories as well are not canon, by the way. They're not canon. They're not part of the main show. right? Unless Chris Chibnall during Series 13 makes a reference to those lockdown stories, they won't be canon. They're not canon. They were a little thing, fun thing. They even said it at themselves. Emily Cook even said it. They were fun things for the fans. They're not canon. He won't come out and tell fans that Timeless Child is not canon. Because Chris Chibnall's going to fix it himself. And by the way, it's not going anywhere. You need to get that out of your head as well. As I said, there's a possibility that the universes are going to be split. Hence why we're getting all this flux nonsense. And if you go and Google all the doctors now, they're fluxing from the fugitive doctors to the doctor. Right? So there's stuff happening even on Google. Right? This whole thing is going to be like Star Trek. There's going to be a Kelvin, like the Kelvin timeline, you have the Prime timeline. Timeless Children's going nowhere. He's not going to acknowledge it because it's nothing to do with him. It's not his story arc. Even Chris Chibnall has said in an interview that he's done, it's his story that he wanted to tell. RTD is not going to come in then and acknowledge it either way. I think too many people are listening to too many people out there that just want to be negative all the time. You need to get a bit of perspective, right? It's gone beyond ridiculous now. It's gone beyond ridiculous. And I know there'll be people that'll be watching the stream that won't agree with me. That's fine. You're entitled to not agree with me, right? But don't be trying to bring fans down, man. Right? There's a lot of fans that are excited for RTD, but all you naysayers just want to bring us all down. Leave it out. And I'm talking about both sides of the fandom here, by the way. Right? Not just their side, the other side do it as well. But you need to all stop that now. Let fans have their moment. Let them enjoy their moment. If fans are excited for RTD's return, so fucking what he did and said and cartoons he done or whatever. Nobody gives a shit. It's not canon. None of it is canon. Jesus Christ almighty. And anyway, I don't know why he's are giving out, because he's the most progressive Doctor Who showrunner that we've had. If not the most. Right? Look at his era again. Right? Because I think a lot of you need to actually go back and watch his era again. Because if I hear you all complaining about the politic and the stuff when his era comes back, I'm calling you all out. Because there's politic and agenda all the way through his first era. So I'd suggest that you all go back and watch it again. So when you go and watch his new era, then you will be able to compare it to that. I wouldn't be comparing it to Chris Chibnall's era or Stephen, but I'd compare it against his first era. Oh yeah, we all can't wait for Jody Whittaker to flux off along with Chibnall. We can't. The BBC does not fully realise the overarching damage the Timeless Children has done to Doctor Who. The Doctor is not a child that was repeatedly abused, experimented on, murdered by its mother. I agree with you there. Absolutely, 100%. I agree with you there. It was the wrong message. I even called him out at the time. I said, look at Chris Chibnall's promoting child murder. Look at that sadistic. I got stick from it from the usual suspects, as you know. We won't mention names here because we don't mention their little twats anymore, right? But I called her out. RTD has always been woke, but in the right way. He doesn't shove it in your face like Chibnall does. Exactly. But I think a lot of fans that have been highly critical of this era, especially, need to go back and watch the RTD era again. Because, as I said, if I see them calling RTD out for wokeness, I'm going to be bringing up the examples in his last era and shoving them in their faces. So you better go and watch it again, because you will be very surprised, you know, because if you want to judge it by 2021 standards in the way everybody judges things, see, but I can separate that. You know, you would all think that his era is the most woke era, even woker than actually it is. It is woker than Chris Chibnall's era. The difference is as Marty said there, the difference is that Chris Chibnall shoved it in your face, whereas RTD was subtle about it. Story came first, but it was still there. You all need to go back and watch the RTD era again because you are going to be very surprised. Because if you were to judge it by 2021 standards, trust me, you'd be all bitching and moaning, like you're all bitching and moaning now about today's era. And rightly so, by the way, about this era. Rightly so, bitching and moaning about it. But you still have no right to bitch and moan about RTD's era. Because he was already way progressive before Chris Chibnall was. Of course, yeah, Jack Snoggs the Doctor. You have the whole single mother, Jackie Tyler. You had your diversity hiring as well. That was done respectfully. You had LGBTQ plus characters that were represented in the show. You know, you had different aliens and stuff like that represented certain things that were going on in society at the time. You know, I mean, you literally had 2 episodes about with the fucking the Sabine. Basically, they were trying to blow up the planet so they could use the energy. Like it's as woke as you can get. So you need to go back and watch. I remember people complaining about RTD's supposed gay agenda back in 2005. I thought his integration of various characters was subtly done back then. Yeah, that would have been. Of course, there's always going to be fans, and yes, I will agree with you, some fans, but not at the scale that we're getting it today, right? And I think all of that died down anyway after they seen how certain characters were written and introduced into the show. So it disappeared quite quickly. Yeah, I agree with you, Daniel. I've stopped watching a couple of channels myself. I'm in the same boat as you. Because they wanna keep it up. You know, the Chris Chibnall era is ending, right? This is what everybody wanted, right? So everybody got their wish, but they're still moaning. So they'll never be happy. They'll never be happy. It's like the Jody Whittaker fans. They'll never be happy either. But people on their side that have been fighting this corner for the last few years, right? They'll never be happy. They're always going to have something to complain about because they've seen what complaining, moaning, criticising does for their channels, right? If I was to sit here every day, right? If I was to come on now, right? Say Series 13, I'm just giving a hypothetical situation here. Just say Series 13 is a success, right? Writing wise, it's spectacular, right? And acting wise, it's spectacular. But I came on this channel and I start saying, well, listen, guys, no, it's shit. The acting's crap, blah, blah, because I have my biases of the last 2 years. You know, that's not how you have to look at each season objectively, and that's what I'll do with Series 13. But I would never lie to get those clicks and those likes and comments and to have my channel explode, right? But I see a lot of people are doing that because they see the benefit of doing that. Listen, I could come on here and criticize everybody and have a go at everybody, and my views would go up. Like I'd probably get super chats by the bucket load, the likes and everything would go up, and my subscribers would go up, right? But that's not me, right? Because I have a little thing called integrity, right? And I believe that's very important when you're a streamer, to have integrity, to be objective when you're giving your criticism or your praise. But you must always be objective. You know, you can't go in with an agenda. And that's what I'm seeing with a lot of people. Jodie Whittaker and RTD's gay agenda and human cat interbreeding were just about tolerable. The timeless child is not. Yeah, but it doesn't matter whether you think it's tolerable or not. It's not going anywhere. And I've been saying this for months, and people need to start listening. It's not going anywhere. So, as I said the last time when people were here saying, well, they're not jumping back on board unless the timeless child is retconned, right? Well, then you're going to be jumping off board because it's never going to be retconned. Now, you'll do something that it doesn't interfere with the main doctors, but it's not getting retconned, and people need to get that out of their heads. So, as I said back then a few weeks and months ago, right? This is the decision Doctor Who fans will have to make. You are either willing to let the timeless children thing go and move on with RTD and hope for a brighter future, or you're never coming back to the show. And the reason why you'll never be coming back to the show is because they're never going to retcon this. So I think that's what fans, that's our choice now, right? But there's no point in sticking around if you don't agree with the timeless children just to have a go at people that are actually excited about the RTD era. If you are going to leave, like I say to the J-bots, well then leave. You know, sad to see you go, but leave. If this isn't for you anymore and you can't get over the timeless children or you can't move past that, well then I'll say leave. It'll be the best thing for you because all you'll do is annoy yourself if you stick around. You have a choice to make, folks. It's never going to be retconned. It'll be fixed up, but it won't be retconned. So, you know, that's the situation you're in, right? Because think about it. Look at Star Wars, right? You listen to people out there, they all hate the sequel trilogy, right? Is Disney going to retcon those movies? Never. Those movies are made. Those movies are done. Those movies actually have fans, right? Might be Star Wars fans, but they have fans, right? And I'm not going to disrespect those fans because original fans have a problem with it. It'll be the same with Doctor Who as well. And this is where, you know, I hear even Star Wars fans say, well, I'm not coming back to the Star Wars franchise unless they fix the sequel trilogy or wipe them out of existence. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. Apparently there's been new images released on social media. So we'll leave with that. So hold on, just bear with me because I see, Daddy, I have to go out. Does Mama need to do it? No, I'll be in now in a minute. Just bear with me for a second. New images. Who's sending me images? Yeah, so I got the tweet, by the way. This is quite so exciting now that we know that 557 other doctors could have turned up here. Hashtag Subwave Network, and that was RTD taking the piss out of the watch-alongs and what the story that Chris Chibnall was trying to tell. Why am I getting random messages? I'm coming in hot. What do you want? How are you? Excuse me. Excuse me. Come here to me. Would you like to say hello to everybody? Would you? Look, we'll check those new images out on Friday. Here, come here, Ted. Come here to me. Say hello to everybody. Look who it is, folks. He's our favourite little terrier. Say hello to everybody. Look at your sad little face. Oh, look at that sad little face. Tell people, are you afraid of the fireworks? Aren't you afraid of the fireworks? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're a good little buddy. Kiss a kiss. Kiss a kiss. Can I have a kiss? See that? He turns his fucking... Yeah, Mammy asks him for a kiss. He's all over her face. I asked for a kiss and he turns away. Watch this. I'll do it again. Teddy. Now, don't make me out to be a liar now. Teddy. 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 Kiss a kiss. Kiss a kiss. Kiss a kiss. No? No? Mwah. Right, so me and Teddy are going to say night night. Say night night. Say night night. Night night. And as I said, don't forget, as I said, Wednesday I'll have the new schedule out. But until then, I don't know. It's kind of for the next couple of days. I'm just going to wing it. But be sure to be here on Friday night for the very first proper Tarzan talks. It's been a while. Obviously, as I said, we're going to be bringing people on, asking them what their hopes and expectations are for Series 13 after all the embargoed information that we've gotten now, and we'll get one final thoughts of people before the series actually kicks off. And then every Friday, then after obviously the episode will air on Sunday, we'll have a panel straight after the episode. So we'll be coming. I'll say it'll be 15 minutes after the episode is aired, just to give people time. But we'll have a panel then. We'll be discussing what we've actually seen, and we'll give our review and our rating. And then, as I said, then every Friday, then we'll have a Tarzan talks where we'll talk about the previous episode and get more people also involved. So we're going to be here, lots to do, lots to talk about. So as I said, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you haven't, so you don't miss a video on the Tarzan. And whatever device you're on, right? For example, I've got a mobile here. Whatever device you're on, go into the apps on your phone. Go into the app, YouTube app. Go to the settings and press the notification button on your YouTube app. That way, if YouTube pisses around with me channel and they don't notify all you guys that I'm on, the phone will notify us, or your computer will notify us, or whatever device you're using. And also, please make sure that you're still subscribed, because YouTube is doing this thing where they're getting rid of accounts and then bring them back, rid of accounts, bring them back, all of this rubbish. So check that out. So we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. We still have 37 people watching. If I didn't have to go, I'd stay on for another couple of more minutes. But it is my turn to bring old Ted out, so I'm going to stick to that and not upset the wife, just in case I get a smack of her frying pan. But I'm going to go now. So I'll talk to you soon. Listen, you enjoy our week. I'll be around, so don't worry. All I'm just saying is I have the new schedule. I'll have the new schedule up and all soon and stuff. Don't forget to check out all the channels and all the guests that we do have on here. We've got Daniel there from go and check out his channel and all the other channels that we do have on. Right, you know who they are anyway. We will see you soon, folks. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your night and. Goodbye. See you. Now take off. Oh, just one last thing. RTD for your consideration. Good night, folks.